Friends, today I would like to talk to you about the mandatory books which every public health professional and community health physician must read. So I would like to begin today with Bottle of Lies. This is a book written by investigative journalist Catherine Edmond, who talks about the dark side of Indian pharmaceutical industry. This also exposes the underbelly of compromise which a lot of industries, particularly pharma companies, highlighted in this book is Ranbaxy and other affiliates. If you want to understand the difference between branded drugs, generic drugs, and also the costing, the compromises, the regulatory agencies involved, this is a book which you must read. Next, I would like to come to Social Policy by Jean Drèze, who talks about the different social, economic, developmental issues which face our country. He highlights about a variety of factors involved in developing the nation, and it's put together a collective of commentaries involved. Endosulfan, Global Conspiracy and a Kerala Fraud Story. So in this book, the author talks about how media agencies and environmental NGOs painted a very different picture of the endosulfan tragedy. He also claims that some of them have done it on behest of the European Union and other agencies involved in this. So if you're interested to understand the real side of what happened during the endosulfan spraying, this is one book which might give you another side of the story. The next book I would like to talk about is Public Health and Private Wealth. This is an edited volume by Sarah and Mohan. They've highlighted different issues ranging from surrogacy to stem cells, to biotechnology, to poverty and public health. So if you're interested in a collection of chapters under the thematic area of public health, this is one book I would recommend you to touch upon. The next book I would move on to is Beholden, which talks about health, religion, and human rights. The author puts it very strategically, calling it a tapestry of stories woven into textured examination of religious faith and global health work. If faith and intersection of global health is something that interests you, then Beholden is something you should place your hands on. This is a very interesting book, Hope or Hype. It talks about the obsession of medical advances, the number of battery of tests a patient can possibly be exposed to. And it also talks about the high cost of false promise. Do you want to understand the dynamics beyond the medical industry? Hope and Hype is your answer. We have been debating, talking about population as a whole in this world. This book on one child talks about how China's one-child policy has been a radical experiment gone wrong. Over the near 3 decades of its existence of policy, one child highlights the underbelly of compromise of the Chinese government. Chasing the screams. Drugs is not what you think it is. Addiction is not necessarily what you've understood it is. And the war on drugs is not necessarily what you have been told till now. You want to understand the story behind the drugs? This is your answer. P. Sainath has been a celebrated journalist, and everybody loves a good drought, talks about how drought is used as a story and how the development sector tries to work around it. It highlights why everybody loves a good drought. This book is the story from India's most backward, or what we could call aspirational districts in today's day and age. P. Sainath is your answer for Everybody Loves a Good Drought. Poor Little Rich Slums. This is a very exciting case study of the most famous popular slum settlements of India, Dharavi slums of Mumbai. It's a slum of energy, enterprise and hope, where every hand is busy and every head is held high, where people could be miserable but choose to be happy, a choice each one of us can make. Poor Little Rich Slums. Anatomy of an Illness by Norman Cousins is the version from a patient for patients. Norman Cousins was suffering from a debilitating disease. He worked together with his physician to find the answer, what he calls inner healing. Anatomy of an Illness is a must-read for every practitioner in the trade of healthcare. Beyond popular medicines, beyond the know-it-all ego, this is an answer for all of us. Lastly, I would like to also share about 2 books which I have written, which you can possibly consider reading. Handbook on Workplace Diplomacy. What is diplomacy? How do you practice tough diplomacy? How do you convey to someone that you can go to hell, yet the person ends up asking you for direction? Workplace diplomacy is about conveying your story every time differently whenever you need to negotiate. This was a book which I wrote during my final year of MBBS. It was released back then, on small things that matter much. Built around philosophy, reflections on life, Small Things really talks about how issues related to smaller pleasures in life can influence our overall well-being. If this interests you, feel free to reach out. So friends, these are the few books which you must read. I would come out with another edition on the number of books you can consider for 2020, but for now, let's begin with this. Don't forget to click subscribe and also tap the bell to receive more updates. Thank you very much.